What is up, guys? Welcome to the new podcast, the Cyro Sports Hour Podcast. I am your host, Sam aka Cyro. Welcome to the first episode of this stream. There's a lot. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I said I was going to do this. So, little test run here. So, there's a week sports. I got my Jordan Love jersey on, Packer fan. That's what you need to know about me. So let's get down to business. It was a big, first of all, we're going to start, with the NFL. Big week in the NFL. It was week 12. We got the action kicked off on Thursday with a 24-19 Cleveland Browns victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Browns moved to 3-8, while the Steelers fall to 8-3, while still leading the AFC North in quite a good game for the Cleveland Browns. Things got really good. It was snowing for the first bit of the game, so that was definitely something. Seeing Jameis Winston absolutely ball out. Amazing comeback story. A guy who came into the year as a backup. Starter goes down. Deshaun Watson goes down. He has to come in. And the Browns feel and they seem like a different team, since they came in. Since he took over as a starter as opposed to Deshaun Watson. And, obviously I think that's going to get better. But, Browns, they all kicked into gear. Nick Chubb had a nice touchdown. There's a lot that happened. And then on Friday, as crazy as this sounded, the New York Giants, New York Giants have had haven't been very good lately. They've struggled. They've been on a long losing streak. They're amid the saga with Daniel Jones, who is their starting quarterback from 2019 to this year. They were on a bye week last week. They decided they were going to bench Daniel Jones and turn to Tommy DeVito, who we saw had a solid few games last year when he had to start in place of the injured Daniel Jones, because Jones missed the entirety of missed most of 2023 with a torn ACL, and Daniel Jones was relegated all the way down to the third string quarterback behind Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock, who they signed in the offseason. And then they brought in Tim Boyle to the practice squad. He's a former Packers, Lions, Bears, Jets quarterback. So they signed him to the practice squad. Made Daniel Jones pretty much fall all the way to quarterback number 4. And then during Thursday's practice, they had him running scout team, because a lot of the times, these third string quarterbacks and all that, they usually run, scout team for the team they play for to act like, hey, to help the starting quarterback read defenses, which is a strong little task to do. And then he went to Giants owner John Mara on Friday, pretty much asked for his release after practice, because after practice he spoke about pretty much asked for his release after practice, because after practice he spoke about pretty much asked for his release after practice, because after practice he spoke about pretty much asked for his release after champions. Fitness sport 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 champions. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying the Chiefs all the way to the last play of the game, it had to come down. Tying
Just because of how
scored by the not very many points were 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 scored by the on a kick return from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick return from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick return from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick return from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick return from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick from Cavante Turpin, one of the and a kick from Cavante Turpin, one of the from Cavante Turpin, one of the from Cavante Turpin, one of the for a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. For a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. And for a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. Sends Washington for a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, makes it 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, 34-26 Dallas. And that sends Washington for a touchdown, 34-26 Dallas. Broke his collarbone and missed the remainder of the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. For him. Broke his collarbone and missed the remainder of the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and missed the remainder of the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and missed the remainder of the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and missed the remainder of the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and missed the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone and the season. Desmond Ridder had to go finish the game. Broke his collarbone Both of the teams needed this game. I would have said the 49ers needed it. Both of the teams needed this game. I would have said the 49ers needed it. Both of the teams needed this game. I would have said the 49ers needed it. Both of the teams needed this game. I would have said the 49ers needed it. Both of the teams needed this game. I would have said the 49ers needed it. Both of the teams needed this. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. Jordan Love had a solid game. It wasn't flashy by any means. On Thanksgiving next week, or this Thursday, 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 Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former Giant, comes in, signs a contract. Saquon Barkley, obviously, former
Giant comes in, signs a contract. Day one. Obviously, former Giant comes in, signs a contract. Day one. Obviously, former Giant.
Like I said earlier, we got the 49ers, but it's just going to be an uphill climb. Like I said earlier, we got the 49ers, but I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an uphill climb. Like I said earlier, we got the 49ers, but I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an uphill climb. Like I said earlier, we got the 49ers, but I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an up. No, that's just. But I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an up. No, that's just. But I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an up. No, that's just. But I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an up. No, that's just. But I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an up. No, that's just. But I didn't look at how. It's just going to be an up. No, that's just. But I didn't look at how. It's just. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. The Chargers. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. The Chargers. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. The Chargers. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. The Chargers. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. The Chargers. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins having a solid year. The Chargers. Herbert looking good. J.K. Dobbins. I mean, Lamar struggled last time they played. Lamar struggled last time they played. Gotta give Derrick Henry the ball too. Lamar struggled last time they played. Gotta give Derrick Henry the ball too. Lamar struggled last time they played. Gotta give Derrick Henry the ball too. Lamar struggled last time they played. Gotta give Derrick Henry the ball too. Lamar struggled last time they played. Gotta give Derrick Henry the ball too. Seems like there's some technical issues going on still. Could just be I'm talking a little quieter too. I don't know. But I don't know why it keeps cutting in and out. So we'll bear with me. Well, this is a test run, so we'll see what happens. And now we're gonna get to over the whole situation. A lot's been brewing in New York. We talked about the Giants with Daniel Jones and that mess over there. But we remember, there's another team that plays in New York. The Jets. The Jets are also dysfunctional right now. Week 5 comes along. They fire Robert Saleh after we also remember last offseason they traded for Aaron Rodgers, who's coming off a down year in Green Bay, and he wanted to change his scenery from Green Bay, so the Packers traded him to the Jets. He came in, started bringing some of his. Once they got a quarterback to build around, and not just any quarterback, Aaron freaking Rodgers, which at the time was like, yippee, great trade, but then he gets hurt last year, tears his Achilles, out for the entire year. Jets fall 7-10, miss the playoffs. This year they come in with the same hope. Hang on, we're just gonna do something really quick. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. So hopefully that boosted back up. I know I disconnected it for a bit. I'm just trying to. So this may not be the best software to use in this situation. Anyways, so Jets come. Lots of hope comes in for the Jets, and it all fell apart. All fell apart at the seams. they try to make up for it. They trade for Devontae Adams a week or two before the trade deadline, hoping, there we go. I think I figured that out. So, yeah, there's just been a lot happening in the Texans on Halloween. That's their last win to date. So it's almost been a month since that game. And seems to be almost no end in sight for the Jets. So, then last Tuesday they come in, they fire their general manager, Joe Douglas, who 30-64 as general manager. He was just who they all, thought could be, this all-powerful, piece for them. And it just hasn't worked out the way they wanted it to. So there's a lot of lingering questions about the future of the Jets, Aaron Rodgers' future. It seems like Woody Johnson's been a little too hands-on in the organization. He wanted Aaron Rodgers benched for Tyrod Taylor after they lost to the Broncos because it wasn't what they were expecting. Aaron Rodgers seems to be frustrated. The team is frustrated. Ownership. There just seems to be a lot going on in New York that we don't know about. And it's all coming out now that Joe Douglas is gone. And it seems like Aaron Rodgers wants to play next year. However, it's looking likely he does not want to play for the Jets. So this year probably is the last year. There's been talks he may not even make it out of the year with the Jets. There's been talks that they might bench him, place him on IR, because he has been dealing with a multitude of injuries, but he's refused to see anybody about his injuries because he's afraid they're going to tell him, hey, we're benching you, or hey, you can't play, so you're going to need to sit, and he doesn't want to do that, even though the Jets are 3-8 and probably mess over there. They're probably going to have a new quarterback next year. Devontae's probably leaving, going to a new team. So it sucks because, Jets fans deserve better than this. They've waited so long to be good, and they can't seem to find a way to be good. Like, no matter what they do. And the Jets would still find a way to jet every year. It's just not a good. And we'll see what Aaron Rodgers does. There's a good few teams that probably will need a quarterback next year. The only problem is will they sign? Will they want to sign him? And would they want him to start? Or would they want him to be a backup in a veteran mentor role? Kind of like how he was in Green Bay for Jordan Love for 3 years, even though Aaron Rodgers was the starter. Do they want to go that route? Overall, we'll see what happens with the Jets. It doesn't seem like there's light at the end of the tunnel yet. So moving on from the NFL, because we kind of recapped everything there. MLB Free Agency hasn't kicked into gear yet. We haven't seen a whole lot of moves. We've seen some moves. The Angels have been making the only move so far. They signed Travis d'Arnaud to a 2-year contract. They brought in former Cubs pick, signed Yusei Kikuchi from, or however you say his name, I'm sorry if I butchered that, who spent last year with the Blue Jays and the Astros. They signed him to a 3-year contract and have already spent the most money in free agency. The Angels trying to compete after their worst season in a little while, trying to fix their pitching woes, trying to maybe fix their offense with d'Arnaud. I'm not sure if he's not going to be this altering move. The Angels, though, got a lot of questions still because, they got Anthony Rendon's big contract, and because when they let Shohei Ohtani go, Shohei Ohtani, speaking of, unanimous NL MVP, his third MVP, his third in 4 years. He won the AL MVP in 2021 and 2023 with the Angels. This year he goes north to LA. Not only wins the World Series, wins unanimous MVP, and he just becomes, a Dodger. I mean, he's got 9 years left with the Dodgers. So, and then Aaron Judge won the AL MVP award, which was to be expected. He was having a phenomenal year. Paul Skeens and Luis Gil win the Rookie of the Years for their respective leagues. Paul Skeens looking like one of the best pitchers in baseball already. He started the All-Star game. Jackson Merrill is the runner-up, and Jackson Chourio, my boy Jackson Chourio, was third. Manager of the Year, Stephen Vogt, won it after a phenomenal first year with the Guardians. He led them to a division title, into the ALDS, my bad. And because those former player managers don't always work out, especially in the first year, but Stephen Vogt defied the odds. Pat Murphy won the NL Manager of the Year. He had shoes to fill after Craig Counsell left Milwaukee to go to the rival Chicago Cubs. The Brewers, obviously, we know, dealt with a lot of hardship. Corbin Burns was gone. Brandon Woodruff was out. They also lost Craig Counsell, and they came in here and managed to win their division. Props to Pat Murphy. I'm not going to list all the Silver Sluggers and Gold Gloves, because there's a lot. Bryce Terang won the Platinum Glove for the NL. Good to him. Good for him. And the big talk, though, of this free agency, because we're in the heart of free agency, Juan Soto. The question is where does Juan Soto go? There was a list of teams. He was going to let every team offer him something. He was going to let every team offer him or speak to every team at least, because maybe a shocking team that we wouldn't know about offers something. But it seems like the runner-ups right now are obviously the Yankees, the Mets, the Blue Jays I saw, and the Red Sox. So those seem to be like the four main runner-up. Seem to be the four main suitors for him right now. Obviously, return to the Yankees makes sense. Bring him back. It would be phenomenal. The Mets, coming off of a playoffs where they went all the way to the NL, where they went all the way to the NLCS before they got stomped by the Dodgers. Steve Cohen, one of the richest owners in the MLB, is no stranger to giving out big contracts. So definitely could see that. Red Sox are surprising considering their history. Red Sox, big market team. They like to act like they're small market, though, so they don't spend a whole lot of money. They're trying to sign Juan Soto. I don't think he'd fix their problems, but I don't see it. As long as it ain't the Dodgers don't need any more superstars, although they're probably going to get a few this offseason anyways, because, well, they're the Dodgers, so they're going to get some regardless of if people think they should or not. Predict that he's going to stay in New York. I don't know if it's going to be with the Yankees or if it's going to be with the Mets, but I do predict he is going to stay in New York. That's just how I see it. A few other free agents to keep an eye on. Willie Adames, the former Brewer. We'll see how his market looks. There's a lot of teams seem to be interested in him. There's not a lot of other big free agents, so that's really it on the MLB regard. Another big topic from the MLB we can discuss. Over a month ago, they had Hurricane Milton, which, ran rampart through parts of Florida and Georgia, and actually tore the roof off of Tropicana Field, which is where the Rays play. And because of that, the Rays' status playing there in 2025 was up in the air, and it seemed increasingly unlikely that they were going to play there because of the damage. And the Yankees and Rob Manfred wanted the Rays to, explore playing in Tampa, like downtown Tampa. The Yankees were kind enough to give the Rays a lease to play in their spring training facility, George Steinbrenner Field, which is across the street from Raymond James Stadium, to let them play there for their 2025 season. So the Rays will be playing in Tampa for the first time in their existence. They will be playing in Tampa Bay, 11,000 seat stadium. We'll see if they can draw a crowd there. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Just have to see. Another team playing in a minor league stadium this year, as we all know, is the Athletics. Playing at Sutter Park in Sacramento. Left the Coliseum. Dropped the Oakland name. They're simply known as the Athletics. They supposedly have a stadium to build in Vegas. I say supposedly because we actually don't know. They tore the hotel down to start building the stadium, but no one actually knows what they're going to do, supposedly. So keep an eye on that. Going back on the Rays stadium, it's looking unlikely that they had a stadium deal in place to start construction next year and open by 2028, but it seems like that plan may have fallen through. So now the Rays' future in Florida as a whole might be in limbo, especially knowing the MLB just said they're going to halt expansion for now. I guess we'll have to see what happens. NBA, there really hasn't been any eventful things in the NBA, I'd say. So, other than, the Bucks seem to be on the rise. They started 4-9. They started 4-8. Now they're 8-9. Sixers have a lot of drama going on, it seems like. So, obviously Joel Embiid hasn't played a lot. Paul George just came back from his injury. Been in and out of the lineup. Apparently they had a player meeting the other day, and Sixers star Tyrese Maxey, who's kind of emerged as I guess you could say the third star of this trifecta of Joel Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George, after we know Paul George signed with the Sixers in the offseason. And Tyrese Maxey actually called out Joel Embiid for his laziness and his lack of motivation to get back out on the court, especially with how the Sixers have been playing. Sixers have not been very good this year. One bit. Joel Embiid has just had a big injury history, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to get much. But yeah, the Sixers are 3-13 this year. They are 14th in the conference. The only team behind them is the Washington Wizards. So they're just a mess in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid doesn't seem he's committed to the team. He said publicly before the season began he doesn't want to play back-to-backs to preserve his health. He got a lot of backlash for that. So overall, there's just a lot rambling. I've just been rambling. But, there's there's that going on in Philadelphia. Cavaliers are 17-1. They currently have the best record in the NBA. Something that was discussed, I don't think it's actually going to be true, is Adam Silver, I guess, is discussing possibly in the near future getting rid of conferences and just having the 16 best teams make it. Which I guess would be nice because the West has more dominant teams than the East. But I don't know. They're also switching the All-Star game to a 4-team format. It'll be 3 teams of 4, and then one team faces the Rising Stars players or something like that. I don't know how it's supposed to look and all. So we'll see about that. Nothing new on expansion. They did get the media rights. A big thing though. So as we know, or if you don't know, I'll tell you. The NBA recently renegotiated. Amazon Prime will be added, and they're leaving TNT to go to NBC, to go back to NBC where they were for a long time. Which left the future of, the hit NBA program inside the NBA, which has Charles Barkley, Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Jet Smith. And there's a lot of talk about, TNT losing the NBA. They're losing the best, NBA show out there. It was just announced, though, last week that ESPN will be picking up the show starting next season, and I don't know if they're going to have to pay, TNT to get the rights or something. So, because Ernie Johnson is a TNT talent. I don't know if it's going to be the same talent. I think it'll be a lot of the same talent, but I don't know if it'll be I don't know if it'll have Ernie Johnson heading it, but it's a huge thing for the NBA to get that show back, because that's the thing everyone watches. Probably boots their NBA countdown show that they already do. Probably boots it to the earlier time zone, shortens it a bit. I have a feeling, though, they're going to try to get Stephen A. Smith on this show, though. So, I guess, guess we'll see what happens there. So, that's it for those big sports. There's really, I would cover hockey stuff. There's not a lot. College football, we're heading to the home stretch. Last week of the regular season coming up. Which means you guessed it, it's rivalry week, where most teams or most college programs play their biggest rivals. State, that's the big one every year, and it will continue to be the big one, like it is every single year. Wisconsin and Minnesota are battling it out once again for Paul Bunyan's axe. Oklahoma State and Colorado play. Georgia Tech and Georgia, obviously. Georgia Tech's been really good this year. Georgia has also been pretty down here for Georgia, but not you. But we got Notre Dame and USC, that's a fun one. Auburn and Alabama again. Alabama is 8-3, but they're number 7. I mean, I suppose the voters of Alabama, so they're not gonna not have Alabama in there. And then another big game we're going to have for the first time is, in their conference, is Washington and Oregon. Obviously, the two are rivals in the Pac-12, but now, obviously, there is no Pac-12. Well, there is, but it's not strong. So now, same with Texas and Texas A&M. First time those two will meet under the SEC umbrella. Texas, 10-1, having their best year. We just gotta see what happens, because obviously, that's only the Friday slate of games, but yeah, it's Quinn Ewers, probably going to the NFL. Which means Arch Manning will get his opportunity to be a starter for once. And then once this happens, we're getting all the conference title games. And then Saturday, December 14th is the famous Army-Navy game. Army-Navy both have been pretty solid this year. Navy's 7-3, Army's 9-1 as things currently. Time they've both been ranked in quite a long time. So, congrats to both of those teams and both of those programs. So, yeah, and like I said, a big week. Sorry, I checked for college football. So, pretty much covered all. Poll doesn't update. Okay, I was just saying, I didn't think the poll was going to update quite yet. So, I definitely like this like live podcasting better than what I was doing. I was uploading them and putting them on Spotify, and personally I didn't enjoy that all too much. I'd rather do live programming like this, because I can actually engage more with an audience. And I stream a lot on Twitch, or well, not as much as I used to, but I stream on Twitch, so I like being able to interact more with people rather than just speak to myself recording a podcast. Because then I feel like if there's a topic we need to talk about and I didn't cover it, someone can bring it up in chat and we can cover that topic. And I don't have to. And I always try to have, an outline of stuff I'm going to talk about. So, yeah. And nice little thing we are going to do is I started a little list, a little weekly segment that I'm going to do on this podcast in reference to NFL stuff. It's called Is Your Team Dead? Taking all the sub 500 teams in the NFL and going over if they are dead, if they still have life, or if they are dead. Cleveland Browns talked about they're probably finished, but they showed some signs of life after they beat Pittsburgh. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. Vegas Raiders, I pretty much said they're dead. There's no coming back. They're 2-9. The rest of their division has a winning record and has a big gap over them. Raiders are toast. There's no saving them. Panthers are also finished. But, which I don't think happens, but I don't know. Their offense looks promising. Their defense, so. 49ers, there's still life left. I mean, they're 5-6, but they're a game back of the division. So there's still teams I feel like could still wind up winning the division. Dolphins are, if Tua Tagovailoa didn't come back and I missed all season, I'd probably say, yeah, like they're finished. They aren't coming back. But Tua Tagovailoa has led them on a 3-game winning streak. So the wild card is within reach. I don't think they're catching Buffalo. by any means, but wild card spot is still in play. Patriots are done. Patriots are done for. They're 3-9. They may as well just try to win out. Try to not tank, but try to, do something. Try to, make Drake May look good and develop him more. Jets are more than dead. Just because of everything going on behind the scenes. The Jets are pretty much toast. There's nothing going on. Giants, all I put for the Giants is Shedeur Sanders. Pretty much means they're tanking. Like, it's pretty obvious. They're tanking. They made it look really obvious that they are, in fact, tanking. There's no saving the New York Giants right now. They haven't won a home game this year either. Yeah, they're done. Jaguars are done. A, they don't have Trevor Lawrence again. B, they ain't catching the Texans. C, yeah, there's no C. Colts, how they do the rest of the year and how the Texans do the rest of the year. Texans haven't looked very good. Colts just ran into bad luck because they had to face the powerhouse Detroit Lions, which is not a fun task for anybody. But we'll see what happens. Titans, I said, too little, too late. Despite beating the Texans, I think they're done for. They need a quarterback. They got the Lions ahead of them. They got the Vikings ahead of them. They got the Packers ahead of them, and the Bears are 4-7. Unless they kick into gear, and the Lions and the Vikings and Packers both fall off, I don't think the Bears are making the playoffs. Said the Cowboys, I said maybe not dead, and then I put in parentheses I said they are because they're 4-7. There's teams ahead of them that are better than them, and I just don't see playoffs for Dallas. Saints, Buccaneers to the Falcons. That's really it. Bengals, that's the team I forgot. Bengals are probably done. Bengals are done for the same reason, like I said, the Cowboys probably are. There's just teams that are better than them overall this year, so I don't think there's an episode of this podcast. You know, it was a lot of fun being able to do this. I'm going to try to maybe make it like a Monday thing, maybe Tuesday to cover, you know, the different, you know, sports topics and after Monday Night Football, but this was after the game's already been played, but I just wanted to get something started on here. I will continue to do, like, you know, regular, like, uploads on here of, like, regular gaming content, vlogs, whatever, but this is just, like, you know, something I might do weekly. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.